Few would guess that behind Barry Gibb's confident mask as BG lies something quite overwhelming. In this video, Linda Gibb, Barry's wife, shares long-hidden truths from their 50-year marriage. She finally decided to reveal secrets and mysteries that had been kept quiet for decades. Although Barry won many hearts through his acts of love and music, the full story of his marriage is now coming out. The Bee Gees used to be one of the most loved bands. The group started with three brothers, Barry, Robin, and Maurice Gibb. Along with their fame, their personal lives were full of interesting moments. Today, only Barry remains alive. Recently, he has spoken openly about his life experiences. Despite his success, Barry faced dark times. He lost both his brothers, which hit him hard. His love life had its ups and downs until he found Linda Gray, Miss Edinburgh. Barry's marriage to Linda has lasted many years and has gained him loyal fans, like his music and style. Their relationship endured many struggles. Yet, rumors about their private life have circulated because of how close they are. People were surprised when Barry talked about parts of his life that few knew. He had a great career, but he also enjoyed a happy, long marriage with Linda. They met in the late 1960s, married in 1970, and raised 5 children. The Gibb family faced tough times, from losing Barry's brothers to the pressure of fame. Still, Barry and Linda's love stayed strong. Their bond shows how deep their affection runs. When Barry, Maurice, and Robin Gibb formed the Bee Gees, they had no idea how big they would become. They moved from Manchester to Queensland, Australia. Their big break came in 1966 with the song Spicks and Specks, launching their fame. That same year, Barry married his first wife, Maureen Bates, when he was just 19 years old. He has said that his marriage with Maureen was already falling apart by the time he met Linda. They lived together briefly before separating in July 1970. Many believe that the stress of fame and his busy music career helped cause their split. Barry kept the details of how he and Linda first met a secret, only revealing that Jimmy Savile introduced them. Recently, he shared how losing his brothers has made him fearful of death in a TV interview. Barry Gibb faced an awkward moment on ITV's Life Stories when Piers Morgan asked about his past relationship with Linda Gray, a Scottish beauty queen. The interview, scheduled to air tomorrow, took a strange turn when Barry started recalling their first meeting in 1967 at a Top of the Pops recording. He mentioned Linda, who was only 17 and had just been crowned Miss Edinburgh. Their early stories are wild, but Barry said, "Some of them are untellable." When Piers pressed for more details, Barry replied, "No, just saying her name would give you chills." Barry remembered the day he met Linda as a special moment, the same day the Bee Gees made their Top of the Pops debut. He couldn't picture life without that day. It marked the start of their relationship. He felt an immediate spark, calling it love at first sight. It was a sweet memory among the chaos of show business. Barry also talked about losing his 3 brothers, including Andy, who died at 30 from drug issues. He added that Linda was brought from Scotland to London by the person who introduced them. Yet they jokingly avoided mentioning Savile when his wife shouted no from the audience. 2 months later, Barry and Linda married. Linda, born in Scotland in 1950, had once been Miss Edinburgh. Their wedding took place on September 1st, 1970, Barry's birthday. Their marriage lasted through many ups and downs. They celebrated the Bee Gees' successes and faced the pain of losing Maurice and Robin, Barry's brothers and bandmates. Linda stayed mostly out of the public eye, dedicated to her family and supporting Barry's music. After more than 50 years together, their son Ashley said their love remains strong. They still love each other as they did then, he said in a 2017 interview with Piers Morgan. 3 years after they married, they had their first child, Stephen, in 1973. Their youngest, Alexandra, was born in 1991. In 2012, Gibbs told the Roxborough Report that family is his top priority after music. He said Linda has always been a strong support for their big family. The Bee Gees struggled for a while to find fame in Australia, but they proved they were talented songwriters. Even as teens, they could craft moving ballads that became modern classics and create a unique, quirky pop style. Songs like To Love Somebody and Words gained fame. They also wrote more unusual tracks like Barker of the UFO and Mrs. Gillespie's Refrigerator, which were more than just psychedelic songs. These tracks helped the band become very popular. Maurice, Gibb once said in a documentary that he had 6 Rolls-Royces by age 21. When I asked him about it, he just rolled his eyes. He explained that Maurice loved to make his stories sound bigger than life, but he only owned 1 Rolls-Royce. Maurice's exaggerations never changed. He explained that the Bee Gees became famous very fast, and that was hard for anyone to handle. There is a difference between fame and extreme fame, which can really mess with your mind. It's like being caught in a storm without realizing it. You don't know what tomorrow will bring, and you worry if your new song will be a hit. Remember, they were just kids. Right after they became famous, the band started to break apart. Barry and Robin argued over who should be the frontman. None of the brothers had clear roles in the band. The Bee Gees first split in 1969, then got back together a few years later, even as their popularity waned. By 1972, they weren't sure who their audience was. They released an album called To Whom It May Concern. They moved to the U.S., following their record label's advice. They decided to enjoy making music and focus on dance tracks. If you know pop music, you know how that worked out. They hit big with songs like Jive Talking, You Should Be Dancing, and the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. Their albums sold 45 million copies, and they topped U.S. charts with many #1 hits. It's strange that a band that sold around 220 million records still felt they had not reached their goals. Robin often shared this feeling in later years. He once walked out of an interview on Radio 4's Front Row in frustration. He said he and his brothers rarely got the respect they deserved. The gap between their huge success and how critics saw them caused the issue. Their music remains unforgettable. Recently, Kenny Rogers performed Islands in the Stream at Glastonbury. The crowd loved it so much, he had to sing it again. Still, many see the Bee Gees as a joke or something to be ashamed of. That must have been frustrating for them, especially after selling so many records. Many people now focus more on their looks than their music. This is very different from the 1970s. After Maurice died in 2003, the band ended. Barry said Robin wanted to keep going but hesitated. Barry told him, "We can't keep calling ourselves the Bee Gees without Mo." This caused some argument. Barry said Robin was very worried about continuing as the band. Robin probably knew he was sick for a few years before it got worse. He wanted to keep his health issues private, so he chose not to tell Barry. Once Barry found out, he understood why Robin pushed himself so hard despite his struggles. Barry Gibb said losing his brothers, especially Robin, was very painful. What bothers him most is that their last days may have been distant and disconnected. He wishes they had been closer or talked more before they died. Barry thought a lot about his often rocky relationship with Robin. They tried to reconnect after Marika's death, and even talked about working together again, but nothing came of it beyond a few performances. In the end, he realized it was his duty to keep the music alive as the last surviving Bee Gees. He cares deeply about their legacy and supports keeping the music alive. So he toured and started making new albums. At some point, his view on the Bee Gees' legacy changed. Before leaving, he told me a story about his daughter hearing "Staying Alive" on the radio while driving to dinner. They turned up the volume and rolled down the windows. People on the street began to dance. He said, "I can't explain how it happens, but those songs have become part of the culture. I don't think this music will be forgotten." Barry and his wife Linda are a perfect example of a marriage that lasts. She has inspired many of the Bee Gees' best songs, like "Words" and "Let There Be Love," which are dedicated to her. Linda is a remarkable woman. In 1967, she even won Miss Edinburgh Ho, showing her striking beauty. Many believe famous couples have perfect lives, but the Gibbs family isn't like that. After losing Maurice and Robin, Barry felt lost and unsure how to move on. He even thought about quitting everything until Linda stepped in. She told him, "You have to get up. You still have your own life. You need to live." Thanks to her, Barry returned to the stage. In 2014, he started his first solo tour, singing with his son Stephen and niece Samantha, Maurice's daughter. Playing with them felt natural and made him happy. In 2016, Barry released his first solo album, In the Now, with his sons Stephen and Ashley helping write songs. After losing his youngest brother, Andy Gibb, he saw how tough fame could be. But he gives Linda credit for helping him stay away from drugs and chaos that affected his other brothers. "My brothers had their demons, but I was married to a woman who wouldn't allow that," Barry said. "She never let me go down that road. I had to deal with my brothers being out there, but I was lucky." As a well-known musician, Barry had plenty of chances to stray from his marriage if he wanted to. He deserves credit for staying loyal to Linda, and their relationship has always been a two-way street. Linda, a former model, has also attracted many admirers. Barry recalls a wild moment at a recording studio in Los Angeles when the legendary Steve McQueen tried to take Linda for a ride on his motorcycle. He saw how beautiful Linda was and understood why she drew so much attention. Yet, despite all the temptations around her, Linda chose to remain loyal to Barry. This shows how strong their bond really is. Barry Gibb developed a love for music at a very young age. While other kids played with toys or did typical childhood activities, Barry focused on building a music career. From early on, it was clear he had a deep passion for music. He spent time singing and experimenting with various instruments. When he met other music lovers, his musical journey truly began. Instead of wasting time on video games or hanging out casually, Barry and his younger twin brothers, Robin and Maurice, along with some close friends, dedicated themselves to improving their skills. They spent much of their time singing and dreaming of starting their own band. In 1957, when Barry was just 11, he and his brothers formed a skiffle band called the Rattlesnakes. Skiffle was a style mixing jazz, blues, and folk, and it was popular in the UK at that time. Barry was the main singer and slide guitarist for the band, with Robin and Maurice providing vocals and playing acoustic guitars. Two neighborhood friends, Paul Frost and Kenny Tubuse, also contributed vocals. Their dad supported their dream of becoming musicians. He believed in their talent and helped them reach their goals. Their first public show took place in a small theater in December 1957, with Barry's father by their side. They initially planned to lip-sync to a record, which was common among local youth then. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. Their record, a delicate 78 RPM, broke on the way to the show. This mishap ruined their plan to perform with a recording. The guys had to perform live without any pre-recorded tracks. At first, this seemed disappointing, but it turned out to be a stroke of luck. Barry, Robin, and Morris rose to the challenge when it was time to sing alone. Their impromptu live show received a warm response from the audience, making it a performance to remember. Watching how excited the crowd was, Barry and his brothers felt motivated to pursue a music career. They soon realized they had a special talent for songwriting. This was a turning point for them, giving them the confidence to chase their dreams in singing and acting. The buzz from that show helped jumpstart their music careers. With the positive energy and the excitement of live performance, Barry and the brothers kept working on their skills. They dedicated themselves to becoming professional musicians. On a personal level, Barry Gibb opened up about his fear of death, especially after losing all three of his brothers. Each loss was very hard for him. He spoke about the strong bond he shared with his brothers. They often tried to get each other's attention, but worked well together in life and music. He highlighted Robin's quick mind and Maurice's relaxed attitude. He explained how their different traits made their group stronger. Losing Andy in his 30s was a tough loss, and Barry said it left a big hole in the family that never fully healed. Even though they kept going, he knew things were different without all of them. After having their first child, Gibb and Gray moved from England to Miami with their family. Gibb said he loved Miami because it reminded him of his childhood in Australia. Today, Gibb and Gray still live in a fancy waterfront home in a top neighborhood in Miami. They also keep a home in England.